Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Story Time. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing today? Indeed, happy Wednesday, and we are happy to bring back this amazing book, The Tiny Giant. And this one is by Barbara Ciletti and illustrations by CATHY Morrison. And of course, we are reading this one with permission of SCHIFFER Books. Thank you so much for allowing us to share this here on Story Time. A beautiful one indeed. Thank you for joining in. I am glad you are here. Please, as always, let us know where you're joining in from and who is joining in with you today. And I hope you're ready for this one. The Tiny Giant. Yes, all you tiny giants out there, amazing kids. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Thank you for being a part of Story Time. I hope that you enjoy today's story, and I hope that it inspires you and reminds you of just how great you are and how great you can get as well. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Absolutely loving it. Loving this week where we're celebrating all you little ones out there. And yes, indeed, for everything that you do for this earth and for everything that you will become. Yes, thank you so much for joining in Story Time. I am glad we're here together. Thank you for joining us. The Tiny Giant, this one coming to you shortly from Barbara Ciletti and illustrations by CATHY Morrison. And of course, reading it with permission of SCHIFFER Books, SCHIFFER Kids. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Welcome. I am excited for this one, to share this one with you today. Thank you for being here. And of course, remember too that there are many organizations that are helping take care of the environment, grow trees, plant more trees. Let us take part. Let us join those organizations, support them in ways that we can, and indeed have a wonderful earth. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time, and welcome. Get comfortable, get cozy, because indeed we have a beautiful story today with us. Thank you. And of course, we have amazing stories coming to you the rest of the week, tomorrow and Friday. But of course, today is all about the tiny giant. Yes, those that grow and grow and grow into the mighty forest that we see today. Join in for this one. It is a beautiful one indeed, and I hope you will love it too. Thank you for joining in Story Time. It is a second time that we're bringing this one here to you. We read it in July of 2021. That seems like a very long time ago right now, but yes, we read it about 6 months ago, and it is back. And indeed, a very welcome back to the Tiny Giant, to the Story Time couch. Thank you so much for joining in. Let us see who is with us this morning, ready to enjoy the wonderful story. Thank you so much for joining in. Please let us know who's here with us. Good morning to you, Amanda, West, Sarah, and Nathan out in Illinois. Sunny today. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you're well, and you say happy Wednesday. Thank you so much. Happy Wednesday to you, and I know you're saying happy Wednesday to everybody that is joining in Story Time today. Thank you so much to you, Sarah and Nathan out in Illinois, enjoying the sun out. Here in Oakland, I can see the light peeking. There's a building that I keep talking about, and one of these days, I'll take a picture so I can show you. It is a really tall building that is to my left, and it catches the light just early enough, and so every time I look at that, I know the sun is coming out. It is really pretty to look at. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Welcome to you, Sarah and Nathan. Good morning to you, Rikia. How are you doing, sweetheart? Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you're here. And yes, indeed, Rikia, loved your winter report. I loved it. Thank you so much for sharing that. It was good to see you swimming with all the dolphins and enjoying yourself. Thank you so much for joining in. I am glad you're here, and we'll definitely be seeing you in class very, very soon. Thank you for being here. We do have a wonderful book in it, The Tiny Giant. This one by Barbara Ciletti and Cathy Morrison, and of course, read with permission of SCHIFFER Kids. Thank you so much for being here on Storytime. Let's get ready. Yes, indeed, this one is coming to you in a minute. Will join me on the other side of this for our reading for today. Join me on the other side of this message.
Hello, my name is Maria Lofton. I'm the creator and author of the Kids Love Oakland book series, and you are watching Storytime with Mr. Lamada.
Ah, yes, indeed. Thank you, Kamaria Lofton. And if you don't know Kamaria Lofton, the Oakland books, yes, she is the creator of those. The Kids Love Oakland books. Beautiful books indeed about the city of Oakland. Even if you're not from Oakland, great books to read to learn about one of the great cities of the world. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Here we go. The Tiny Giant. This one, read with permission of SCHIFFER Kids, and of course, written by Barbara Ciletti and illustrations by Cathy Morrison. Cathy, thank you to you for connecting us over this book. Thank you so much. And here we go. The Tiny Giant. Do you remember it? Are you ready for it? All right. Tiny Giant. Barbara Ciletti, illustrations by Cathy Morrison, and read with permission of SCHIFFER Kids. And this book, the dedication from Barbara says, for our children, believe that you're important. Go out and do great things. Oh, yes. Go out and do great things. Go out and be you, because you are amazing. And Cathy says, for all the creative, curious kids at the Fort Collins Museum of Discovery, you're tiny giants in my eyes. And you know what? Oh, you kids that are joining us out there, oh, you creative, curious kids are tiny giants indeed. Oh, they're amazing. Keep up all the amazing things that you do. Spring breezes sweep winter away. Oh. That will be happening soon, won't it? And blossoms parade along the branches of the tall oak. Springtime is here? Not yet. Buds dress in sleeves of summer's glory. Oh, dinner. Do you want some of that dinner? Acorns sprout and green leaves cluster everywhere. Just before the first frost of autumn, the tall oak rains hundreds and hundreds of acorns. Squirrels gather their food for the winter, and bears fatten up for long winter naps in the dens. Yes, it is time to prepare. Time to gather all that food for the winter. Time to hibernate. Blue jays fly off with full beaks, but one tiny acorn drops into a valley where only grasses grow. It falls from way up high, not a bit broken or bruised. Oh, yes, indeed. as blue jays fly off with full beaks. But one tiny acorn drops into the valley where only grasses grow. It falls from way up high, not a bit broken or bruised. Nestled into a bed of soil, winter comes to cover the tiny nut with a blanket of soft white snow. I want to be covered in a blanket, but not one of snow, no. Nestled in a bed of soil, winter comes to cover the tiny nut with a blanket of soft white snow. Oh. Winter continues on as the acorn lies in silent darkness, in the ground below, where small creatures stay safe and warm. Even insects come and go. Stay safe, little acorn. When the sun warms the soil again and rains soften the earth, the small seed grows unnoticed, pushing against its shell and bursting open. A tiny root bud begins to form. Whoa, look at that. When the sun warms the soil again and the rains soften the earth, the small seed grows unnoticed, pushing against its shell and bursting open. A tiny root bud begins to form. The seed sprouts. It pops up out of the darkness and reaches toward the sun without making a sound. Its roots are small but sturdy as it peaks above the ground. Wow, look at that. Amazing. The sun's heat and the warm summer rain feed the little seed as it sends a single spare thread of life toward the sky. Oh yes, the sun's heat and the warm summer rain feed the little seed as it sends a single spare thread of life toward the sun. Yes, sunlight is important for plants. Up, up, up it goes, through frost and snow and rain, until finally warmed by summer's sun. Look at that. Up, up, up it goes. Oops. The spare sapling grows taller with each passing year. Through autumn, winter, spring, and summer, now rightly and round, now mighty and round it stands. A giant laden with acorns, they too will tumble, then sleep, then crack open to send their own thin threads toward the sun. Oh, that beautiful cycle. The spare sapling grows taller with each passing year. Through autumn, winter, spring, and summer, now mighty and round it stands. A giant laden with acorns. They too will tumble, then sleep, then crack open to send their own thin threads toward the sun. Oh, how about that beautiful, beautiful picture? I love nature. It looks so good. Threads that will grow into seedlings, making a valley into a forest. Yes, from the efforts of just one. Oh, yes, indeed. Threads that will grow into seedlings, making a valley into a forest from the efforts of just one. Oh, my goodness. Oh, the end. And there it talks about Arbor Day, which you can read about as well, but it is here. I'll read it very quickly. And of course, here, Aikens of North America. Let me just hold that up there so you can see it. Those are the different ones. We have the blackjack, the bur oak, California black oak, chestnut oak, and many others. Yeah. And then there's Arbor Day. Some fun facts. Do you know what Arbor Day is? Well, let's read very quickly. Arbor Day is a national holiday celebrating all the reasons to be thankful for trees. It traditionally falls on the last Friday of April every year. So pay attention this year and you'll be able to celebrate Arbor Day. Did you know Arbor Day is not like other holidays? Each of those reposes on the past, while Arbor Day proposes the future. Yes, indeed. Arbor Day began in Nebraska City, Nebraska on April 10th, 1872. Julius Sterling Martin and his wife, Carolyn, dedicated a single day for planting and celebrating trees. It is estimated that Nebraskans planted 1 million trees that first day, and at least 250 million trees of all varieties have been planted since then. Imagine that. That is a lot. Listen to that one more time. It is estimated that Nebraskans planted 1 million trees that first day. And since then, about 250 million trees, new trees of all varieties, have been planted since. In 1885, April 22 was officially declared as Arbor Day in honor of Mr. Martin's birthday, but many states today observe the holiday on different dates. So why are trees important? They take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, which we need to breathe. Oh, yes. One large tree, such as an oak, can provide a day of oxygen for 4 people. Oh, yes, you heard that right. They take in carbon dioxide and release oxygen, which we need to breathe. One large tree, such as an oak, can provide a day of oxygen for 4 people. There are 2 types of trees, deciduous and evergreen. Deciduous trees, like the oak, lose their leaves in the winter. Evergreens, like the pine tree, have small needle-shaped leaves they keep all year round. Of the 400 species of oak trees worldwide, 90 of them can be found in North America alone. Oh, so much great information on there. So much to read, but we're going to stop there for today. And I hope that you enjoyed that wonderful book indeed. And this was The Tiny Giant. You saw the forest that grows from just one. Yes, indeed, you're a mighty giant yourself, and indeed a forest will be growing from you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime today. Go out there, be yourself, enjoy your life, and indeed, in the way, make change, make differences. You matter, you're important. I appreciate you, and I know that this earth appreciates you too. Thank you so much for showing love to our wonderful planet. And indeed, remember, if you can participate, if where you are, you can help plant a tree, why not? If you can help recycle, why not? Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you learned something from this wonderful book. And indeed, I hope that it reminded you, kids, that you are powerful, you are important, and yes, mighty, mighty giants you are, even though you're still tiny right now. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Enjoyed this wonderful book, The Tiny Giant, brought to you this one by SCHIFFER Kids. And of course, this one is written by Barbara Ciletti and CATHY Morrison. Thank you for allowing us to read this wonderful book here on Storytime. But remember, this week is particularly special. We're celebrating all the kids, celebrating the future future, the potential that you have, and indeed all the goodness that you're doing right now for our communities and for our planet. And you know what? Tomorrow we will be learning how to create some art of protest. Yes, protest art tomorrow. Please do join in for this one. And it is written by D. Nikos. And please do bring paper and pen, and so you can participate in some of the activities that we will be trying to do from this one. It is a wonderful book. Indeed, we'll be reading about some amazing kids, gifted kids, special kids that are doing amazing, wonderful things out there. And I know you are too. So please join in and celebrate these little ones that are like you and doing amazing things. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. And of course, in the way we talk about many important issues that we can protest about, that we can demand from our leadership. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Absolutely appreciate each and every one of you. Excited for this week. And of course, thank you to all the cool kids, the wonderful kids that are joining us out there today. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. Oh my goodness, one more time. Kathy, thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing this book with us. I am so glad you are here. Thank you indeed. This one, The Tiny Giant. Oh, love it. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. And I hope that you enjoyed that one. Kathy, thank you for these beautiful pictures. I love it. And of course, this wonderful book, and of course, connecting us to this great book indeed. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Good morning to you. How are you doing, Miss Ingrid? And say, loved it the first time you read it, and even more the second time. Thanks so much for the story. Well, absolutely. That is what it's about. We bring back our favorites. We read them here on Story Time and indeed enjoy them. Many great books, many great authors out there putting in a great work, great research into these wonderful books. And if you learned something from this book, thank you for joining us today. Thankful indeed to Kathy and of course Barbara for this one. Thank you to SCHIFFER Kids as well. Thank you so much for joining in, Miss Ingrid, and that wonderful message. Pamela Courtney, thank you. And I say we love this book. Oh, the illustrations. Yes, indeed. They are beautiful indeed. What a conversation we're having. Hello from Braylon and Chad. Yes, that is what Story Time is all about. We want to bring those conversations. We want to have those conversations. And please share everything that you are talking about. And we want to participate as well. And thank you. I love it. That's what books can do. That's what reading can do for us. It make our minds critical. It makes us think. It makes us wonder. It makes us enjoy life and also appreciate the things around us. Thank you so much for sharing that one. Braylon and Chad, thank you so much for joining in Story Time. It is indeed good to have you back here on Story Time. Pamela Courtney, thank you so much for joining in. Oh, yes, indeed. Absolutely. Find this book where you find books. Yes, get them. Also, if your local library doesn't have it, ask them to get it. Why do they not have it? Check it out. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. I am glad we were here together, celebrating you, the tiny giants out there, doing amazing things. Continue being you. Yes, indeed. Thank you for being here, everybody that joined in. And good morning to you too. Cool Kid Life, how are you doing? Oh, and you're asking, are people having fun, having a good day today? Well, I am. I hope that you are too. And I'm pretty sure that everybody is having a wonderful day out there today. A great start at least. Oh, indeed, if it is your day, and I hope that you are having fun. Thank you so much for joining in. Cool Kid Life, let us know where you are joining us from. And one more time, Sarah and Nathan in sunny Illinois, thank you so much for joining in. Happy Wednesday, you say to everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Rikia, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining in Story Time. And of course, if you joined us live, thank you for being here. Absolutely love it. And for those of you that are joining us for the recording later on, we say thank you, and please leave us a message below. Let us know how you love the book, and of course let us know that you are here so we can say good morning to you as well. Thank you so much for being here wherever you are. We hope that you are having a wonderful day indeed. Oh my goodness, Harry, how are you doing, little buddy? Thank you so much for joining in. A big hug for you. Oh, I miss you so much. Thank you for joining in. Kat Saxton, good morning to you right here in Oakland. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. Yes, indeed, Harry, you are the future. You are the tiny giants that we're reading about today. Thank you so much for joining in, and I am glad you're here. Yes, indeed, as parents, as adults out there, may we continue to provide the fertile soil that our kids need to grow, that our kids need to thrive, that our kids need to sprout, and yes, indeed, go out there and be wonderful human beings in the world. Thank you so much for joining in today. The Tiny Giant from Barbara Ciletti and Cathy Morrison, and of course, read with permission of SCHIFFER Kids. Thank you for being here on Storytime. Absolutely love it. Great to see amazing faces coming back, and of course, meeting new people as well. Our cool kid life. Thank you for joining us today on Storytime. To everybody that is joining in, thank you. Harry, give a big hug to the grandparents for me. Tell them we miss them. Thank you so much for joining in. Chris Wheeler, thank you so much for joining in. Hope everything is well with you. Yes, Rikia, I have it, and I have it for you at school. Thank you so much for joining in and reminding me that indeed I realized after you left that I still had that. Thank you so much for joining in. Everybody that's joining in Story Time, thank you for being here. Have a wonderful day. Hugs and much love from me, and I will see you again tomorrow for another exciting story. And tomorrow we will be trying out some art of protest, and this one is by D. Nichols, and we will be reading this one with permission of Candlewick Press. A beautiful book, an exciting book, a wonderful book, one that I tell you you should be here for and enjoy. And of course, find it where you find books, find it at your local library. Have a wonderful day. This has been Story Time for today. Much love from me. Bye-bye. And of course, big shout out to everybody that joins in regularly. Abraham, we miss you in San Leandro. Thank you so much for joining in always. I hope that you enjoy this recording. And of course, Rocco, Clay, and Chriselle, I know you'll be on this later on as well. Baby Bia and Amanda and Marlin in Seattle, thank you for always joining in for supporting Story Time. And of course, Henry in Massachusetts, thank you. Bowden and Chrissy in Vermont, and so many others. Thank you for joining in Story Time. Much love from me. Bye-bye.
He will be starting soon. Oh, Story Time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing Story Time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, Story Time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. Ooh, Story Time. Story Time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story Time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be